Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Very excited to lead things off for the week of October 11th with new music from RÜFÜS Du Sol, a record entitled Inhale, Exhale. This is the fifth studio album for the Australian trio and their follow-up to 2021's Surrender. And I think I can confidently speak for every fan of this outfit when I say that watching Tyrone Lindquist, John George, and James Hunt evolve together as a unit over the years has been such a privilege. I know that the goal with electronic music is to create this transcendental ambient experience, a way of stepping outside of ourselves. When I listen to this band, there's just something more unique and ethereal and just flat out sexy about what they bring to the table. A lot of things about the band dynamic that I'm just really thrilled to talk about. And that is the biggest one. The fact that they are an electronic outfit with a band dynamic makes me think of fellow Australian rockers, let's call them Cut Copy. Great band there. I love what they do. It's not just about what they're bringing to the table on record. When you watch a live performance, when you see the energy between these three guys, it is just intoxicating. You cannot just help but be mesmerized by what they're doing visually and with their music on stage. And it's no wonder that they draw from, artists like Daft Punk, Chemical Brothers. I think with electronic music, it really is important to have that collaborative energy, especially when it comes to live performance. So it's one of the big reasons that I love these cats. And if you've never seen them, you have to check them out. I think that you will have an experience quite unlike anything else that you may have had in your life if you choose to check them out. I think Tyrone's voice is another thing too. It's not technically the best singing voice that's out there in popular music, but what he brings to the table complements their sound so well. I love the harmonies he's creating, the melodies that he's creating, and especially on this record. There's a couple of iffy moments, and we'll get into that with the track rundown, but overall, I think that he has delivered just a ton of stunning melodies on this record. It's really cool reading about how this project went down. There was definitely rumors after they finished the tour supporting Surrender that these guys were going to call it quits. And those were, briefly smashed. That I don't think that these guys really ever wanted to call it quits, but taking time apart the way they did was crucial. This is an outfit that spent the entirety of their existence basically living in the same city, working together, and to see them separate for a few years and go about their own lives, to develop as individuals, and then to come together and to develop these pockets of time where, they talk about how they really created this constructive pressure by doing so. They picked Los Angeles, Austin, Abia, and it's just, you can feel that coming together, that sense that they belong. And that's one of the big driving factors in their music. I think it's what makes it so spiritual, is that you throw any of their albums on and there's this feeling of just being a part of something that's bigger than you. And so it's just, it's fantastic to have them back. I think that, it'll be interesting to see how they choose to make music in the future, if they want to spend time apart, finding this method constructive. And they talk about implementing a clean living regimen during these sessions as well. They'd come together for 2-week pockets or so, and they wouldn't drink, they would exercise, they were doing a bunch of yoga, taking ice baths, all these different things. A sign of three guys that are, starting to get older. And I feel the same way as well. As I've gotten older, I think there's definitely more of a mindset, an approach to just taking care of yourself and finding more mental health and creativity there through healthy living. And so I love the way that plays on this record. And I think that you just get this intoxicating energy from start to finish. Love the way that this thing is bookended. The title is a pretty clear indication that that's something you're going to see in the track list. Inhale, exhale, and in between that big deep breath, you're experiencing so much sound, so much unique. It oftentimes feels like rock and roll. This is an electronic outfit that they definitely work with a lot of freedom. And I love that. I love that they're making albums and that, moving forward, whether they choose to or whether other DJs choose to, they can take this music, remix it, make it more club friendly, so to speak. But I love that that's not their number one goal. Their number one goal is to create driving ambient electronic music that, it doesn't often have a beat. It doesn't often play to that conventional notion of what electronic music is. So I'm really thrilled to get into the track list on this thing. It does open up with Inhale. Ambient open, tweakly synths are contrasted with this dark, moody texture. You got rim shots driving the percussion. And I love that about James Hunt. I love that there is an actual drummer when you see these guys performing, driving the beats. Not always, but for the most part, that's where the percussion is coming from. An actual man in a drum kit. It's amazing. I love the way the vocal hits. You get this bass-like synth that follows this like deep tone in that, and really just a nice intro leading into Lately, one of the first singles off this record. It builds off of Inhale with the momentum. Get this dominating, pulsating synth. Love the way that the vocal enters as the texture builds. And the bass drum hits to lead to this big moment, and it just sounds great. I will say that this is one of those moments, talking about his vocal element, I feel like there was more potential for a hook on this track. I feel that the vocal line does fall flat a little bit, but the music is incredible, and in my opinion, more than makes up for that little beef that I have. Breathe, your third track. Opening synths have this big sci-fi drive. You get the cymbals that are driving the percussion, vocal enters, and the song builds and hits with this deep bass and just strong electronic feel. Really like this moment on the record. Music is Better is your fourth track. Upbeat, up-tempo. The intro is minimal, driven by percussion and vocal, but then you get these playful synths and drums hit, and it just goes hard for a few bars to usher in this banger of a verse. I really think that the lighter mood of this track, it comes at a nice moment, and it's so catchy. It's really just an amazing vocal hook that's at play on this song. Enjoyed the heck out of that. Levitating is your fifth song. Slow tempos, big drums, and this ominous synth to open. You get this alternative electronic feel. TV on the radio is kind of what I felt when I heard this song. And honestly, there's a lot about this band that reminds me of that Brooklyn outfit as well. In particular, the record Dear Science. I really felt that pouring off of this song right here. And another track where I'm really loving the vocal. Break My Love is your sixth song. It comes right off of Levitating with this up-tempo electric drive, nuanced industrial drive too. It's definitely one of the unique features of this particular track, and that like light industrial mood comes in on a couple of tracks, and I really appreciate that element. Love the dark, sultry mood that this song develops, though. Just that signature RÜFÜS sound that's on display here. In the Moment is your seventh track. Pulsating synth drives over other textures, and the build and the percussion, really enjoyed that. Vocal hits to usher in this smooth transition to the beat, and it's going to move between ambient minimalism and just banger territory. Really like the shift in that track. New York is your eighth song. Really unique moment on this record. It's got this simple drum beat, mellow contrasting textures. Very reflective track, I felt. Introspective moment with synth washes. They get big and fuzzy as the track progresses. It is a cool, unique song. The Life is your ninth track. Ambient open, synth shaker is driving the percussion along on this thing. Vocal with big bass, and you get these like warped synths that are really cool on this track. They hit to build, and love the ambient industrial feel that's working on this particular track as well. And it's going to move between that ambient minimalism and just that banger territory once again. Pressure is your 10th track. Cymbal percussion drives over light textures. Vocal has a really solid feel on this track. Building synth creates this drop moment, and the track, again, working with that industrial feel on this song, and lots of rock and roll influences on this song. There's a lot that really feels grounded in rock and roll on this particular track, which is what I loved about it. Fire Desire is your 11th song. Light textures and rim shots driving the percussion, vocal to open, and I love the build on the percussion as that progresses. It never takes off, and this is a moment where this is a band that I feel like especially like in the last decade with electronic music, dubstep, all this stuff, you get this buildup for like big drops, right? And this is a moment where they show restraint throughout the track, and it works so well. I love this band, and when they take the moments on compositions to do that. I've never been disappointed with that angle in their music. Edge of the Earth is your 12th track. Light pulsating synths are going to usher in driving bass and drum, vocal hits. It's got that soft feel that lets you know that they're like building on this song. They're not, just trying to catch that big drop, as I was stating before. This is another fine moment where I feel like they're really, doing more with that electronic sound than you hear with a lot of other artists. Standing at the Gates is your 13th track, piano and vocal to open for a different, very different sounding mellow track. It's got these melancholy strings that are light, galloping percussion that takes hold. Great moment coming towards the back end of this track list. And again, just giving you more unique sounds, really fleshing out and finding new territory with that RÜFÜS sound. Belong is your 14th and penultimate track. You got this big ominous strings they're eerie. I really like the feel of them. Light percussion, sounds in the mix of many things. Deep pulsating synth is going to hit after the vocal. Beat takes hold to find a really solid groove, and I just really enjoyed the string arrangement on this song. It is definitely a highlight for me. And then your final track, going to bookend this thing with Exhale, almost this kind of electronic a cappella feel. It's I really like the way that they're playing with Tyrone's vocals on this. Back with the light synths, it's got this pulsating bass, pulsating synth, sparse piano that works in, and just a phenomenal way to close out this record. It's a fun project. It's 15 songs, 59 minutes. You guys know how I am with the Wax. There's some moments where I felt like they could have cut a couple tracks, maybe trimmed this thing down to 10, 11, 12 songs and kept it on that one piece of wax. But I love this band so much that I'm willing to pay the $50 for the 2-disc set. To each their own on that. But at the very least, I definitely would recommend streaming this record this weekend. Super fun project. I'm going to give it a 7.4 out of 10. We're going to definitely please the Wax on this thing. Hope you enjoyed this record this weekend. Hope you find this review helpful. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2024. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. And please tune in to Classic Wax on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.